Hello everyone. So this is big news. Uru-Chan, the author and drawer of Unordinary Webtoon on Live Webtoons, is coming to C2e2 in this April. I am so excited. I love Uru-Chan and her work. I'm definitely getting my ticket, and this is what this video is dedicated to. If you don't know about Unordinary, well, this is the great place to find out about Unordinary. But anywho, I'm really excited that Uru-Chan is coming to C2e2. If you want the information, I will leave a link in the description below of where you could purchase your ticket if you're in the Chicago area. She's going to be doing a panel and a signing. So I'm really excited. I have so many questions that I want to ask her, and I'm just curious about what she looks like, because all we see is just her icon, and she doesn't even have pictures of herself on Instagram. So I'm really curious about what she looks like. I hope she's Korean, because then that means I need to speak some Korean by the time of April. Life goes. But anywho, let's begin with the video. Unordinary, for all you who don't know, is basically the best webtoon of the new generation. You know, in the old generation, I like to call it, where they had Noblesse was #1 online webtoons for several years. Now that trend has taken the form of Unordinary, that has become rank 1 since its began. Now I looked at it, and Let's Play and Unordinary are kind of fighting it out, but it's still Unordinary. Unordinary is going to be #1 in pretty soon. But what is Unordinary? So, Unordinary is about a main character named John. John is a cripple, apparently, and he goes to a school in which other kids have superpowers. And he basically is living out his life as what they call a cripple against a bunch of people with superpowers. Now, he befriends the strongest student in the school by the name of Serafina. And there's an evil organization called Amber. So what's going on is that Amber is killing every high tier that they can have. And their purpose is unknown, even in the current chapters of this webtoon. It's not until later in the webtoon that we find out John's true motives, and Amber is starting to make their move. Now, there is many things with this webtoon that are just excellent, but I feel like if it's one thing, even over the art, it's the story. Uru-Chan has made an amazing story, and it's not interesting at first glance, but if you really dive deep into the content of Unordinary, it's actually quite genius. Uru-Chan's webtoon, Unordinary, focuses a lot about hierarchy and power, kind of like how I mentioned about in Days of Hana, where you have this conflict of power and hierarchy. Well, this is very prevalent in Unordinary times like 100. There is a certain hierarchy when it comes to people and power, and those with the most power are kings, while those with lower power are not. Another fact is the suspense, because right now we are in episode 83 at the recording of this video, and there will also be a marker. And from what we know, just by what the chapters have given us, is we still don't know who Amber is. We still don't know what John really is, and we don't know any motives or anything, which again, it may seem like a bad idea, but it's actually genius, because it keeps you reading, it keeps you going. It's this suspense that generates tons of followers that she has, because we all want to know what's going on. Oh yeah, spoiler alert, John is actually not a cripple, he's just playing cripple. He's actually the strongest user in their entire school. But again, you don't find that until like a year after the webtoon has been created. But more onto John later, because I have a lot I want to say about John too, and how he plays in Uru-Chan's story. And now, personally, I am a sucker for these animes and these comics that really touch on real life issues. You know, it's not all fantasy, even though the power of imagination is a great thing. But at the same time, it's really good to see real life elements transferred into artists' works and animes. And that's what Unordinary does for me, by showcasing this hierarchy of power, and that the ones who do have the most power are valued highly, and the ones that don't have the power are placed under a lower standing than those that are up above. You can see this all the time with people with YouTube channels, you know, rich people. You can see this element in Unordinary in everything in real life. But then also too, we don't know who Amber is. Also, Amber is such a mysterious organization because no one really knows their motives, the people that are involved. How are they killing ability users in the first place? And that's the really huge thing, because in Unordinary, it is clear and evident that ability users reign supreme in the world, whether they be kids or adults. Ability users reign supreme. So for an organization to be able to even dent these high-tier ability users, like we find out with Seraphina in the later chapters, is quite interesting, actually, and no one knows being done. But is Amber with the government? Is Amber just their own self-organization? Like, what is Amber? And again, this whole element of suspense and basically putting the pieces together is what makes this webtoon work really well. Maybe Amber was inspired by the book called Unordinary. Now, no, it's not the same thing. In the webtoon Unordinary, there is a book called Unordinary that John has. And I believe, well, I'll get to more on John later, but I believe that that is his reasoning for becoming a cripple, technically, because that he read the book Unordinary. Unordinary was made by his father by the name of William. And this book was banned because it basically, the power scale that is now, it turned the power scale and had people who didn't have much power revolt against those who did. So maybe Amber was influenced by this book that William made, and now they are killing high tiers. But then at the same time, it still doesn't add up to, are they a bunch of ability users? Are they a bunch of non-ability users? Do they just have the government funding them so they can keep these ability users under wrap? All of this has been debated over and over and over, but it just makes the webtoon interesting. Now, finally, I want to talk about John, because John, in my opinion, is the most important element in finding out what exactly is going on in this webtoon. John, at one point, was playing cripple. But even before he released his power, it was kind of obvious that he had power that he was just hiding. And you see that power very well. Like, he is insanely strong, as he was able to take out Arlo, who is the king, and 3 other high tiers without breaking much of a sweat. But what that has done is it made Arlo go into a position that his character throughout Unordinary, he would never go into in his old self. In order to keep the balance of power, he decides to abide by John and make him happy and live out his life in Wellston Academy. Which again is an amazing thing for Uru-Chan to do, because in the current arc of Unordinary, if you get up to that point, which is like chapter 77 to 83 right now, the power structure has completely flipped upside down. Seraphina has lost her powers. John is basically playing the cripple as he was before, but Arlo is basically abiding by John secretly because he is so afraid of John and John overthrowing the power system that he feels that the best choice is to abide. And this is being found out by several people all over the high school, including one person that may or may not be with Amber, who is being a reporter for the school's newspaper. So I don't know what's going to happen at this point. I believe there are things that are going to be found out, and then the school is going to go into a riot, and that's when John's ability is going to have to be used. That's just my personal opinion. His father said, last point, that the more he hides his power, the worse it's going to get. And you see that happening more and more and more, which brings me to the main point of talking about John. I will say this. I absolutely love John. Like, I love him when he was a cripple, and I love him now when he's kind of a butthole and he just pimp slapped the girl for no reason. I don't condone this. Now, I know kind of if you've watched like my Days of Hana videos, that I do talk about how much I love Jeff, but it's characters like these that really make the webtoon work. You know, you don't need like really nice and wholesome characters all the time, because we see that all the time in daily life, and it's just not accurate to real life. But at the same time, you need those horrible characters with horrible personalities, because they really make the webtoon work. In Jeff and Days of Hana, it's because we know this hierarchy power struggle between werewolves and humans. It makes sense to have a butthole human character who just treats werewolves like crap. in Unordinary, it makes sense for someone who is trying to be a reformed jerk and is just inherently a huge jerk because he has all the power. John's old aggression and just blatant disrespect for anyone around him because he can is what really makes this webtoon work, in my opinion. And it's a key factor, and I feel, in knowing who Amber is and finding out why they are doing such things. Because this is the question that I have. Why did John become a cripple in the first place? Okay, so we know that in his old school, he was a jerk, blah, 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 blah. You know, some girl, I think it's the same girl that he slapped, but some girl was like crying and you said, no, I want to change. But I feel like it's more to it because he seems like he hates ability users, but he's a stronger ability user than everyone else. So it's kind of being hypocritical. And I'm just curious about why is he being so hypocritical? Does he really hate the way things are? But then why would he hate the way things are if he's clearly the strongest user in that whole school if everyone fought him combined? There is more to John's mentality and the way he thinks, and I think that that is a key issue to identifying what is going on with the story as a whole. Even as a cripple, John has this ability to just be a jerk and to really go against the hierarchy, no matter if he's really strong or he's really weak. So it makes no sense to me, why is he playing off as really weak, and why is the school allowing him to play as really weak? I personally think that John is with Amber and he may not know it. Or he might join Amber. Because of the way things are now. Because he generally just hates the way things are. And that may be because he hates what it's done to him and made him into a jerk. Now, again, and I will say this, and this is the final point, that I don't really blame him, especially in the last arc, I don't blame him for the way that he's acted, because his friend was almost dead and it was, anyone would be mad at that point. But his character and the way that he interacts is very crucial to finding out what's going on for all of us, in my opinion. So is Unordinary worth reading? Yes, definitely. It's an amazing webtoon with amazing artwork, an amazing plot, and amazing characters. And it's definitely a must read if you are looking for something new. If you want to check out Unordinary, as usual, I will send a link in the description below to where you can check it out for free. If you want to see Uru-Chan, I will leave a link in the description below about where you can get your ticket, or you can just type in C2e2. It's up to you. What do you think about Unordinary? If you have read it, what do you think is going to happen next? Let me know in the comments below. If you get this point, again, if you like this video or you like parts of it, make sure you leave a like and a subscribe for more webtoon discussions and content. As Unordinary keeps going along, I will keep updating it regularly, especially with the other webtoons. With that being said, I thank you for watching and listening, and have a good day.